Good morning. I'm going to talk to you about emotional release, something that we've done here at Health Trek for a long time, and I've mentioned in interviews with Terry or just with clients, but I've never really spoke much about it. And the reason I never really spoke much about it is because it's a love-hate relationship. Talk about emotions. I love it so much and I hate it so much. So I kind of shut down on talking about it because it was too much. But let me explain the whole concept. It's really cool. Okay, so if I break your arm, that is a physical break, which means instantly your body's going to detect that there is, bone marrow broken, tissues broken, send down the right antibodies and stuff to come down and start healing immediately. Even as soon as the break's there, the body's responding. Okay, heal. Emotion is just as real and powerful, except it's not physical. There's the difference. The difference is we feel all these emotional things all the time, and it hurts our body just as much as a physical ailment does. But the body doesn't detect it all the time, so it sits inside the body. It always starts in the stomach first, because if you fall in love with somebody, you fall out of love with somebody, or something just excites you, you get those butterflies in your stomach first. It starts in the stomach, and then if you don't let go of it or deal with it, process it, and then let it continue, it sits into organs and glands and tissues. Now, this isn't a fact. And it stems from little things that a lot of people think consciously they let go of all the time, and they have not. I use the analogy all the time of 16 years old, I'm doing my driver's test, I'm in a red car, I'm driving and some red car cuts me off. Well, the red car cuts me off and I fail my driver's test. Screw the red car. In fact, screw all red cars. Okay, let it go next week. All of a sudden you're 30 years old driving down middle of Winnipeg and you see this red car and you go, stupid red car. That subtle anger that you were holding on from when you were 16 years old and the red car made you fail your driver's license for that little minuscule time, which meant nothing in your life really, is actually still in the body. And the cells reproduce. You've seen things. If you haven't seen this, check it out. Stop this video right now and check this out. You can put things under microscopes. Water is one of them. Water you put under microscopes, boom, you put love. It changes the crystals of the water into like this beautiful like painting. Amazing. Hate, anger, resentment, jealousy, and they just shrivel up and the cells start to die. Your body's like over 70 to 80% water. Not water like the drinking water, that's different. Water is, you usually pee that water out in 45 minutes. But water has to turn into this crystallized state in your cells. So if you're holding on to anger that you didn't even know about, how healthy do you think those cells are in whatever organ or gland that is associated with? It's not. That's why a lot of ailments or illnesses and diseases form on people that you think never would, because they look perfectly healthy, they're fine. Well, what was their emotional state like? So the emotional release, I was going through a state where I was going through this breakup with this girl back in Ontario, and I just couldn't let go of her. And I was working with Terry in Tillsonburg, and there was a lunch break, so I was laying down face on a massage table. He didn't even tell me what he was doing, just walked up with his elbow, put his elbow on my back, and was like, there you go, that should help you out. And at first I was thinking, what the hell did this guy just do? And then get off the table, and instantly my thought was to go think about this girl, and I couldn't. It was literally like somebody was changing the remote on a TV. I go to think about her, it's like, nope. And then eventually when I did think about her, it was all, can't believe that happened, instead of, poor me. So what the heck is this? So Terry taught me about the emotional release component. You lay on your back on a massage table. We use acupressure, which is just points on the elbow, to hit spots where emotions are trapped in the body, and then it sends a message. It makes that connection to the brain that there's an emotion trapped here. It sends the antibodies down, or the endorphins down, to come and release that from the organ and gland. Sometimes it can take a minute, max. One spot, okay, one spot, good. You think, what'd you do on my back? And then as time goes on, those things that we were releasing, they just disappear. Or you realize, I can never go in a room with this person ever. And then you hit the spots in the back, you don't think anything because it's not a physical adjustment. And then all of a sudden, a month later, you go, wait a second, I just had lunch with them. How did that happen? That never happens. It's these subtle things. A lot of the emotional, that is the big emotions, going through a divorce, going through these things, they hurt deeply. But the body, you can deal with a certain amount of it, or you process them. That's why it hurts when you let it go, because you're processing it. But it's the little ones, it's the thousands of little ones throughout the day of the anger, I don't like that, and the muttering that is talking to the cells and making the cells not healthy. It doesn't matter how much nutrition you pump into your veins. If you are full of anger, that's what you are. anger. So dealing with the emotions is a huge part. I stopped doing the emotional releases because really, honestly, people started to look at me as like a therapist. And that's not what I'm about. I don't even want to know what the emotion is. And there's points, and that's what's impressing and fascinating. Well, how do you know what emotion that was? It's the same benefit if you just release it. And it was talking about the emotions that was too draining on me. So when Terry taught me how to do the emotional release component, we would go on the road. And I remember in Verdun, we went on the road and I did 80 people in one day with the emotional release. And by the end of it, there was a few deaths in there too. And by the end of it, I didn't kill the people, not deaths like that. It was deaths that they were dealing with emotions. I was so sick. And then he had to press it on me to release that. It sounds silly, but every single time you do it to somebody, it's just such a release. Almost when they get off the table, I feel different. I haven't had it done in years since Terry passed away, because he used to do it to me quite often. And then when Nick and Kent came down to visit, they did it to me for the first time in about 3 years. And when I stood up, I just could not. The pressure that just lifted is like, this is what this does. This is incredible. It's amazing. But it doesn't take very long. That's the thing. And that's why I kind of stopped doing it too, is because a lot of people will go after quantity versus quality, which means if I hit a spot on you, it takes 2 minutes. Very beneficial. You got rid of it. But some people want the whole 45 minutes of hitting knots and rubbing their back like a treatment, and that's not what we're doing. But the emotional release thing is so cool. So cool, because I guess talking about it, but the real reason of making the video to talk about the emotional release was just to note it's the little subtle emotions that we're hanging on to daily, not the big ones that are hurting our body. That's really what it comes down to. You don't think you mutter? Open up a journal, walk around with it. And every time you have a negative thought or use the word hate in the day, write it down. I bet you'd be very surprised how much you use hate, I don't like, or any fear-based negative words. I just woke up not too long ago and got a coffee, and I probably said it about 4 times. See, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I just am aware, and that's the worst part. I'm aware that it's doing this to us and to me as a human. But it's a key component to feeling better and always being better and letting the vitals in your body actually function properly. Emotion is not physical, but it does not mean it's not real. You cannot see the wind, but it'll blow your car right off the road. And you start running around going, I don't know what happened. I was just driving. This invisible force just pushed me off the road. They think, you're crazy. You don't now because it happens to you. Emotions. Little emotions worse than the big ones. Have a good day.